righty. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Brownsville Tech Live. It's been a while since we've had a BTL episode. We've been too busy covering sports. But in the house tonight, we've got Mr. Frankie Olivo, who is also my cousin, by the way. And I've got my good friend, Ramiro Villarreal, who is also known as the Space Cowboy. So, guys, welcome to the Starship pre-launch party.
Thanks, Daniel. It's good to be back. It's felt like it's been a long time since the last launch.
I know it really has felt like a long time. I mean, there's been all kinds of, speculations as to when it was going to happen or if it was going to happen, whether it was going to be November or December or maybe after next year, whether Kamala won or Trump won. I mean, there's been all kinds of speculations about, if and when, but I think Elon pretty much threw everybody a curveball. As you know, a lot of our fellow YouTubers have been scrambling to come down here. I mean, trying to catch flights, trying to find places to stay because nobody expected it to be this soon. I think everybody thought it was going to be after the election. So, you know. But Frankie, you're actually on the island right now. What does it look like from your end?
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, world. Yes, guys, I am on the island. There is a lot of buzz. We do expect for the 30-minute launch window to start at 7 a.m. I do anticipate for the island to be busy from 4 to 6:30 up until launch time. You feel the buzz. The Facebook pages on X that I follow. I've seen people from all the way from Europe, from across the globe, are coming today. It just so happened that yesterday the FAA granted the license, and here we are. So there's a lot of buzz in the island for the fifth launch. So there's a lot of excitement over here.
Yeah. And for those of you out there, if you look at our launch countdown clock, it is exactly 10 hours, 5 minutes, and 2 seconds before the launching of Starship tomorrow. So we'll be having that clock go on all night until we wake up tomorrow in the morning. For those of you who will be joining us tomorrow, we will start coverage around 6:30. So stay tuned to that. And of course, to make it easy and quick, we've got a direct link to that launch right on our mobile app on brownsvilletechlive.com. That way you don't have to scramble to try to find who's trying to stream it. There's been a lot of rampant cryptocurrency scammers out there on YouTube lately. I've fallen for a few of those, thinking that I'm actually watching something for real, and it turns out to be a cryptocurrency scam. So, if you want to avoid all that, just go to our mobile app, and you'll have a direct link there. So, hopefully they won't change my IP address overnight the way they did on IFT-4.
Yeah, that would be a big bummer. And you forgot to mention all the government bureaucracy, with the regulatory scandals and the fake Indian tribe, and it's been a disaster and a surprise that we have a launch tomorrow.
I know, because at most I expected, the fake Indian tribe to file an injunction. I think they did, but they can't seem to get much headway. But anyway, we're not going to talk
They
about
lost.
politics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they lost the appeals. So
yeah. We're not going to talk about politics today, even though Frankie might,
no, we're not.
might want to chime in. But no, Frankie, no politics tonight, Anyway, yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and flip. Give me a second here. Where am I? There I am. Okay, let's flip. All right. So by the way, for anybody that wants to chime in, the live chat is open. So we'll take your comments. They will go on auto. So I'm not actually filtering anybody out today, except any trolls. come our way. We'll have a few of those. But all right, here we go. So basically, what we've got Starship Integrated Flight Test number 5. It is the 5th test of Starship. It's going to occur tomorrow at 7 a.m. from Starbase, Texas, or Boca Chica, as it was previously known. And once again, for those of you that want to watch that launch, you can watch it on our mobile app directly. We've got already the link ready for you guys to log in tomorrow to check it out. So there's only one place you can go, quick and fast. All right. So basically, what we've got here is we've got Starship and the flight hardware. The flight hardware is basically for integrated flight test number 5. It is the 5th integrated flight test of the prototype Starship vehicle. Once again, these are prototypes. These are not the real ones that'll eventually will launch, right? But the prototype vehicles planned to be flown tomorrow is Starship number 30. That's the upper stage, and the super heavy booster number 12. And basically, the IFT milestones tomorrow is they want to get Starship to launch, get into orbit, and return safely back. And at the same time, it is going to be the first time that SpaceX attempts to recover the actual super heavy booster back at the launch pad. So it's going to be exciting. Exciting for the fact that we know that Starship has already gotten into orbit previously in IFT-4. But now the real exciting thing is, will they be able to capture that booster at the launch pad? Or will it explode? You know, God forbid that it explodes, right? So we don't want that to happen. But nevertheless, the launch pad, the actual launch pad and the arms that are going to catch is called Mechazilla. And basically it consists of 2 mechanical arms that Elon calls the chopsticks. Elon coined the term Mechazilla to describe this contraption. And it will attempt to catch that 400-foot super heavy booster in midair. And the catch will actually occur beneath the grid fins. The grid fins are the things, I believe, Ramiro, that actually guide the rocket down, right? It's the stuff that makes it like try to level down.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and it's got these little like kickstands right underneath the grid fins, and from what I heard, it's not much. There's not much wiggle room to get it right. Like under an inch on each side, that it has to be precise. If not, imagine if it only catches one of the hinges on one side, the thing's gonna go lopsided and blow up on the pad.
God help us, right? Well, one
Yeah.
of the big things about this catch tomorrow is the fact there's going to be sonic booms. And there's a big concern about sonic booms. And here I just took some verbiage out of SpaceX's site, and basically it says, with each flight of Starship and the super heavy booster, SpaceX gets closer to our goal of making life multiplanetary. The most important advancement, obviously, is to make that rocket reusable completely from the entire launch pad system. So basically what they want to do is they want to make Starship as reusable as an airplane. You know, today we hop on airplanes and we don't think much about it. But back, you know, in the days of the, Wilbur, of the Wright brothers, I mean, that wasn't common. In fact, in the teens and the 20s of the last century, you know, flight travel wasn't very common. It was kind of like where space travel is today. So in order to get this to be frequent and safe, it's got to be reusable. So what they've designed is they've designed Starship's upper stage and the heavy booster to be capable to return back to the launch site. And the returning vehicles will slow down from supersonic speeds, resulting in audible sonic booms. So for sonic booms, the sonic boom is basically a brief thunder-like noise a person on the ground hears when an aircraft or an object travels faster than the speed of sound. So there's probably going to be sonic booms down there, Frankie. You may get to hear them. So
Yeah, and that's very interesting because we have seen the progress from launches 1 through 5. I was present at Isla Blanca on the first launch, and many critics said that it was a failure because it quote unquote blew up midair. And now on the fifth attempt, SpaceX is trying to catch this booster. And when you talk about sonic boom, one thing I've noticed, guys, from the previous, I want to say, the first 3 launches, was that you felt it. When I was at Isla Blanca for the first launch, man, you felt the heat. And that's because we were maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 miles away from the launch site. And the last time I was on my balcony on South Padre Island during the launch, I felt it on the third one. The
yeah,
interesting thing, guys, was that on this fourth one, you didn't feel it.
right,
It was super weird because even in Brownsville, which is, from Boca Chica's probably what, 20, 25 miles away, people were feeling it. Businesses were, everybody was posting, oh my God, SpaceX woke me up. On this fourth launch, guys, we didn't feel it. So
right,
I was even asking my friends, did it happen? Was it canceled? But no, they actually got it off. So
right.
tomorrow's launch, guys, is going to be very interesting because we are going to see the progress from launches 1 through 3. And then when Danny says that, they're going to implement this sonic boom to give it that extra juice that it needs, are we going to feel that? And that was an interesting topic because many homeowners, many HOAs were scared. Is this going to increase our premiums for insurance? Are we going to have our windows shattered and things like that? That was a big question mark for many people.
Yeah.
But now, according to the last launch, we didn't feel that tremor that we felt in before.
Right. Well, I was covering IFT-3 here from the studio, and I kid you not, I felt the shaking of my monitors. I mean, everything felt, right? But for IFT-4, I didn't feel a thing. I mean, I was expecting to feel a thing. My brother lives out on Bayview, and he claims that he feels it all the time. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. But the interesting about these sonic booms, and they've done some little bit of research on with regards to sonic booms, and basically, what it is, it's the speed of sound. The speed of sound is the distance traveled per unit of time by a sound wave as it propagates through an elastic medium. At 20 degrees Celsius, the speed of sound in air is about 343 minutes per second, or 1 kilometer in 2.91 seconds, or 1 mile in 4.69 seconds. It depends strongly on the temperature as well as the medium through which a sound wave propagates. So if you look at what subsonic speed is the range of speeds within which all of the airflow on an aircraft is less than Mach 1. So most of your aircraft, unless they're fighter aircraft, like military aircraft, fighters, specifically fighters, we all travel at subsonic speed when we go hop on an airplane. So you don't really feel a whole lot. But then fighter pilots, Top Guns, they are traveling at the speed of sound, which is Mach 1, which is approximately 761 miles per hour. So at 761 miles per hour and the sea level temperature being at about 20 degrees Celsius, there will be a sonic boom at that point. And then
What
anything beyond supersonic speed, you'll definitely feel it. Yeah.
what is that in Fahrenheit?
Oh gosh.
So,
Well, let's put it this way. 32 degrees Fahrenheit is 0 Celsius. So
okay.
I don't know. I don't know. To be honest with you, this came from the Cameron County website. believe it or not, they actually had scientific stuff this time. I was
Well,
surprised.
I think they probably pulled that from the EPA evaluation, that was
Probably.
required of SpaceX. So it the sonic boom is going to be from the booster landing attempt.
Correct.
Uh, yeah, so it's breaking the sound, the speed of sound as it's coming back towards the pad, and then it reignites its engines to attempt a landing.
Right.
So that's the plan. So that's where we're going to hear the sonic boom, similar to like if you've seen the Falcon 9s, when they come back to the pad, you hear that sonic boom as it's coming back down.
Right.
So I think it is going to be pretty loud. And the reason, like what you said about the weather, it has a lot to do with how sound travels, and also a lot of that has to do with it is the humidity. We're not going to have probably no fog at all, and humidity. I think I checked; it was like at under 80% humidity, so fairly dry weather, clear sky. So the sound was gonna travel a lot farther, and it was IFT2 was the one where you were able to. I even heard it on my home security system, and I'm roughly about I would say about 15 miles away from the launch pad. Uh, IFT 3 and 4, I did not pick up the audio, so because it was too humid, it was foggy and humid, and
Okay.
that dampens the energy, the sound waves.
Right. Well, one of the things is a lot of people ask is where is this stuff being built? A lot of people thought that it was going to be built in Florida. A lot of people thought it was being built in Hawthorne in California. And by the way, I just found out today that the state of California passed a law that they're limiting the launches of Falcon 9 at Vandenberg. So you can imagine what that means for Texas and for Florida. So
Yeah,
they've,
as every day it seems like Starbase is becoming. There's a need for Starbase to be more than research and development for sure.
yeah, especially if California continues to pass all these laws that Elon doesn't like, right? So, well, for those of you wondering, Starship is manufactured and tested here at Starbase near Boca Chica. That's east of Brownsville for those of you out of towners. SpaceX employs over 2,500 employees. I think it's even larger now. I think it's over 3,000. But they recently completed the Star Factory. That is the 1 million square foot facility that will manufacture all the Starship rockets. It has been called and labeled the factory of the future. In addition to the factory, they just completed a five-story parking garage that will accompany the Star Factory to provide additional employee parking. For those of us that have been down there several times, you know that the poor employees have been parking on the side of the road for quite some time. And so they've gone ahead and built a five-story parking garage in less than 3 months, which was like incredible, right? Totally incredible. We haven't been able to finish the bicentennial McAllen construction and all that stuff in like 10 years, but Elon could finish it in 3 months.
Oh
You know?
yeah, all the construction there in Hidalgo, with all the money and commerce they have, and it's been about 10 years. I think by the time they finish that 281 and 83 Highway 2 junction, they might have to start refurbishing the whole thing before they could finish.
Right. And the whole reason is because there's that magic word called cost plus contracts. When it
Oh yeah,
comes to the government, they don't pay them for being quick, they pay them for being slow.
yeah.
And
It's
of
called job security.
job security. And of course, SpaceX started construction of a second launch pad tower. Ramiro, you were down there, I think, last week. Is it complete now?
It is almost complete. The tower is completely stacked. They haven't put up the chopsticks on that one,
Uh huh.
and they are working on they're going to go with the flame trench instead of a water deluge system,
Okay.
which is going to be a big improvement as far as launch cadence, and that'll get rid of the pesky uh, bureaucrats from delaying the flight process any further. With the flame trench, there's not going to be any need for a water deluge system.
You mean they're not going to complain about the alligators being killed anymore?
Oh no, no, no. Actually, the flame trench will keep the alligators warm.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, they love to say the alligators are going to die, but okay. All right. Well, SpaceX continues to make additional investments, by the way. They've started to build homes for the executives. They've got all kinds of travel trailers down there for some of their employees to stay. They've set up a school down there, and I know that they're expanding some of the educational opportunities for the school. They're introducing a music program as well. They're also got plans to do retail and restaurants near or around Starbase. So there's a lot of investment. There was a lot of talk back a few years ago. People were saying, well, that Elon was just gonna, what is it, pick up his bags and leave. I don't think so. Not at this point. Not with the situation in California the way it's been, and the fact that, he can't find a state more inclusive than Texas, right? I mean, even Florida, I mean, they're giving him a lot of hell over Launchpad 39A, well, primarily because, Jeff Bezos, who owns Blue Origin, Mr. Amazon, also has an interest in launching rockets. And he really has a problem with SpaceX leasing 39A. I think he's got what? One of the other launch pads. It's not 39A or B. He's got like one of the Mercury, one of those
Slick
early
40.
19, yeah, 40, launch pad 40, that's right.
Yeah.
For the Mercury program back in the 1960s. So he's kind of pissed off about that. He doesn't like the fact that he's got the shitty launch pad, so but
Yeah,
oh,
and then it's not only Jeff Bezos with Blue Origins, it's other, the ULA
right,
and
the Boeing crowd.
Ro- yeah, Rocket Laboratory and all of them.
Yeah, yeah. So, you
No,
know,
but definitely, I don't think that Star Factory is not a pop-up tent, right?
no. In Florida or here?
No, no, no. Here in Starbase, that Star
No.
Factory doesn't seem to be something that's like a temporary building, a fold-up tent.
Well,
That seems
actually,
pretty
yeah.
permanent to me.
Actually, the picture on the left-hand side is what it used to look like, and the picture on the right is what it looks like now. Of course, with with the exception of the Frankie's Cybertruck right there. Right,
Yeah, so
Frankie?
that
You're getting
it,
a
it seems like
Cybertruck.
Star Factory is going to be around for a long time. That's not something you build to tear down in a couple of years from now.
Oh no. No, not whatsoever, So when are you getting your Cybertruck, Frankie?
Hopefully soon. Here on the island, they're everywhere. I just
Yeah.
yesterday I saw a nice gr green wrapped Cybertruck, which was phenomenal. I was in awe when I
Yeah.
went for my morning workout. But it seems as if Texas is potentially going to be the home for Starbase slash SpaceX. You previously mentioned about California, how they're limiting them on their launches, and I go back to SpaceX did announce not too long ago that they did want to perform, what was it, 9 to 12 launches throughout the end of the year. So we're going to see a lot of activity. We'll see how tomorrow does, but moving forward, we could possibly anticipate, maybe 2 launches per month, and that might be sounding kind of greedy, but I think SpaceX is kind of shooting for the stars, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. We've seen how Elon Musk has taken X from California and incorporated into Texas being the home state. It seems as if Elon Musk will slowly bring SpaceX due to that due to the governor limiting SpaceX in California. So we're going to see a lot more activity here in a local area. We've seen how much investment in entertainment. I think there's going to be like a $60 million plaza that they're building in Starbase with like a sushi bar and things like that. So hopefully in the next, I don't know, maybe 5 years, it'll be like it's already its own community, but maybe it'll be like entertainment for the outside world, not just SpaceX community.
Right. Right. Well, as we previously mentioned, the FAA did grant SpaceX the launch license yesterday, and that was October 12th. So there's a copy of the launch license. So for those of you out there that want to know if they did get the license, they did get the license. And that's
Right, and not for one, for two.
Oh, okay.
For flight 5 and 6. So we could see if everything goes well with flight 5, and we do have a good successful catch. I think that, or even if we don't, even if they bail out on the catch attempt and decide to soft splash in the Gulf of Mexico, flight 6 could come as early as maybe a week out from now or before Christmas.
Well, the only thing that I hope for, it is not during the Cowboy game on Thanksgiving. Let's hope that he doesn't decide that happens.
Yeah. So and then talking about how California has been pushing away Elon Musk. Remember that Starbase is now the headquarters of SpaceX,
Correct.
and it's not only SpaceX. We have X headquarters, formerly known as Twitter. They're now in Bastrop, Texas. We have the Giga factory in Austin for the Cybertrucks and Teslas. And we also have in the rocket manufacturing in what's the name of that town again, Danny?
McGregor.
In McGregor, and we have Starlink. I think is also in Bastrop.
And let's
So
not forget the Tesla lithium factory that's right there in Bishop.
yeah, in
The
between
refinery.
it's actually Robstown.
Robstown. Yeah, which has
Yeah,
grown, by the way. I took a quick trip to San Antonio last weekend, and I was in shock when I saw the amount of activity, going there. So there's a lot. Now, I don't know if you guys heard, but Austin's a little pissed off because somehow they got the idea, maybe Elon kind of eluded that they would get the X headquarters location. In other words, they thought they were going to be in Austin. Well, it now turns out that it's actually going to be in Bastrop. I think Bastrop's what, 37 miles away? So they're not happy because they wanted the X headquarters there in Austin so that they could, lay claim to fame, that they were, the high tech hub, right? But now it looks like it's in Bastrop, they've always claimed that they're the high tech hub, right? They used to claim that Dell used to be in Austin, but we all know that it wasn't in Austin, it was in Round Rock. It's always been in Round Rock, right? But
yeah. So they want to be the Silicon Valley
well,
of Texas.
right. And of course, the liberals there, they hate Elon, they hate his companies, but they don't want to get rid of their Teslas.
Yeah, they love the money. They love the income coming in. It's so ironic.
It's kind of hypocrisy at its best. But anyway, we said we're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about
But
politics.
you just got to.
Right,
Nowadays,
right, right,
it's
right.
just part of life.
It's part of life, right? Well, of course, for those of you wondering, the county did release the beach closure. Eddie Trevino, the county judge, put out a release back a few days ago, and they're talking about the closures. And basically today, Isla Blanca, if you guys are still out there, it closes, I believe, at 9 o'clock. So for anybody out there, it closes at 9 o'clock and it will reopen up at the morning. I can't remember what time in the morning it's going to reopen, but I guess, these are the charts here. Primary day on the 13th. The time of closure is 12 a.m., but that's not true. It's actually closing at 9 a.m. And it'll be closed from 12 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that's when the beach is closed, excuse me. That's when the beach is closed. So 12 a.m. to 2 p.m., you have no business out there on Boca Chica. And of course, if for some reason they can't launch tomorrow, then the alternate days are the 14th and the 15th, and it's the same thing 12 a.m. to 2 p.m., 12 a.m. to 2 p.m. as well. So if you're out there thinking of, going out and catching some fish, you need to be aware that if they don't launch tomorrow, the next 2 days, it's going to be the same thing with regards to closures. And
I'm
of
seeing
course,
here, guys, that Isla Blanca will open at 3 a.m.
oh, wow.
in anticipation for the 7 a.m. 30-minute
Launch?
window. Because again, everybody wants the first row seats. So and it really is mayhem. Like I'm sure starting from 2, everybody's going to be on that side of the island.
Yeah.
So the island probably won't sleep tonight.
No, probably won't.
Yeah,
Well,
they usually start around that time, 3 or 4 in the morning. I think this last time they opened at 5. There wasn't as many people, and this time around. I think there's going to be less this time because of the short notice. I mean, literally 1 week, less than a
yeah,
week notice. I mean, everybody on standby, and no one was believing the timeline put out there because the FAA had said that it would be no sooner than
mid-November.
mid-November, and here we are tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, sorry for the folks that live way up north that can't catch a flight. I mean, it really sucks if they were planning to be here for tomorrow's lunch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would really suck royally big time. For those of you wanting to cheat and try to hop on a boat to
Oh
catch the
yeah, the
launch,
boats again.
I mean, the last time, was it the last time or was it IFT3 where
The
they couldn't launch?
IFT-3.
Yeah, or they couldn't launch. There was a delay about an hour because somebody decided to get on a boat and end up in the exclusion zone. But there are exclusion zones, by the way.
Yeah. So
So
for everybody on boats, please do not get out there in the zone where you're
Stay
not supposed
away.
to be. Yeah,
yeah,
because we only have a 30-minute window.
yeah. And my problem is the last four launches have been on a work day for me, and I've got meetings that start like at 9 o'clock, and I can't miss them. So if for some reason this had been on a weekday, they better start right at 7 because I can't be on the air. But basically, the exclusion zone is everything in the yellow. So if you've got a boat or a jet ski or a canoe, whatever, whatever you want. What if it's not a canoe? What are they called? The small ones? What are they called? They're not canoes.
Kayak.
Kayaks. That's
Yeah, the
right.
kayak.
Kayaks. Stay away from the yellow zone. You could be anywhere over by the blue and anywhere by the white, but please, please, please don't get in the yellow zone, please. And I don't know how far Playa Baghdad is from the yellow zone. I don't know if they're included in part of the yellow zone or not. I'm not really sure. I can't tell from this picture.
Do y'all remember the first launch? Did you see that video either on X or Facebook of the view from Playa Baghdad? It seems as if they have a better view than Isla Blanca. They look super close, and it was a beautiful sight. I was amazed.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, they do, hands down. They have the best view, and for some reason, I think it has to do with the way the flame is diverted away from the launch pad. That it's diverted away from Mexico's view, so it blows up all the dust to the streamers and YouTubers over here to the north of the launch pad and towards the west. So hands down, Playa Baghdad does have the best view. They're less than a mile away if they're standing there on the Rio Grande.
right.
Uh, from Isla Blanca, you're about 6 miles away from the launch pad.
Yeah. Well, Ramiro, you remember in this last launch, what we noticed is some of the YouTubers out there, some of the well-known YouTubers out there actually discovered that it was a better site, and they somehow wiggled their way to convince the county to let them mount their camera stuff on the mouth of the river. Yeah, it
Oh
was.
yeah, that had a lot to do with the sheriffs.
I know,
you
right?
know.
I mean, and of course, keep in mind they lost their camera equipment the previous launch too, so I guess they didn't want to go through the same situation. I don't blame them,
Yeah. I
but
I actually know a sheriff, and I recently talked to him about a month ago. I told him, hey, you know, can you hook me up with the spot over there on the right by the river on the U.S. side? And he was like, pues mochate con los tacos. And I was like, oh man, I was like, all right. And so, but no, I never called him back. But yeah, if you know give them a tip, they will give you access to that area.
dude, I will buy them 24 packs, whatever it takes. you know, I mean,
So it does have to do with the sheriffs because they're in charge of that area.
oh man, but yeah, they definitely have a better view. There's no doubt about that. But, for those of us that don't want to go to Matamoros, what can we say? All right. Well, Frankie, I stole your weather report. I'm sorry. I know you're big on weather, but I stole it from you. I'm sorry.
No worries,
What
no worries.
what's the weather forecast tomorrow? Well, as we previously said, it's going to be 91 degrees. It's going to feel like 95, but it's actually going to be 91. So for those of you white guys that can't handle the sun, the UV index is going to be about 6, which is high. So you want to make sure you use plenty of SPF, 50 or greater for you white guys out there. The winds are going to be southeast, blowing southeast at about 7 miles per hour. And the gusts are going to be about 18 miles per hour. There is zero probability of any precipitation, which is good. No thunderstorms, a 1% cloud cover. So we should get a very, very good view. And just in case they don't make it tomorrow, we did include an extended forecast for the rest of the week. And on Monday, it's same thing, 91 degrees, plenty of sunshine. It'll be clear, no precipitation. Same thing with Tuesday, which is the next launch window. 90 degrees, lots of sunshine, and it'll be clear with no rain in sight. And just to make sure there was no rain in sight, because it can creep up on us, I did get a snapshot of the current weather radar, and there is no precipitation anywhere. Not even, what is it? Milton is the remnants of Milton are nowhere to be found in Florida. So that's good news. There's a little bit of rain down here, but nothing for us to worry about, at least for the week. But it looks good. Looks good. So Frankie,
Uh,
if you need help doing the weather on your show, I can fill in for you.
right.
So
I
Thanks
think
for sure.
actually early in the morning it's going to be even better than that. It's going to be around, I would say, probably about 75 degrees early in the morning.
yeah, yeah, it's gonna be great. I mean, we should be able to get some really. I mean, Frankie, you should be able to capture that launch from your balcony now, crystal clear. You know.
Right.
I
Unlike the
hope
last
I
launch,
hope
that the
so.
fog was so bad. I mean, you couldn't see anything, not even with the telescope or anything. I mean, you could not see through the fog. It was so thick.
And then the other thing that happens, especially for some of these YouTubers coming down from up north, they all use Starlink, right? So Starlink gets affected big time when it comes to the weather, especially when it's cloudy, you know? So, you know, everyday astronauts should be not having issues this time around.
Right. So,
Oh,
what
sorry.
kind of equipment do you have, Frankie? Do you have like a snapshot of what your view looks like from the building, from the hotel?
Um, I can take one right now. It's the condo unit is probably one of the highest ones on the northern part of the
That
island,
but
and I'm
is
on and
that
I'm on the bay
Margaritaville?
side. I'm sorry.
Is that Margaritaville?
It's right across from Bahia Mar. Um,
Okay.
it's by the Tiki by Bahia Mar, and it's like my balcony is literally like a straight shot from the launch. My neighbor, who is 2 floors above, a little bit to the right of the launch, he got a good shot from his balcony on his cell phone. I think that was the second launch. You were talking previously about a lot of the air, the
The fog.
The
pollution,
fog.
the fog. I'm sorry, the fog.
Yeah.
That even I was telling Danny that even people on boats were having trouble seeing the launch. Yeah, they could see the flames, but they really couldn't see the rocket.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me. I went live. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try and get the shot. It doesn't look very well. I could hear it, but I unfortunately didn't see it. So I'm hoping tomorrow with a clear, crossing fingers, with a clear weather, I'll be able to get it live.
Yeah. It would be great. I mean, it would be super. I will be very curious to see what that video coming from Matamoros is going to look like because they're going to have probably some damn good video. No doubt about it.
Oh yeah. I think actually this time around there's more YouTubers from the Mexican side that are going to be streaming, with the big guns out there. So
Well, you know what?
Mexico is just as hyped up about the Starship launch as the U.S. side is. So I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody out there with a big telescope mounted on the back of their pickup truck out there getting footage.
There was a charter bus company today that I saw somewhere that was advertising charter trips to Mexico specifically for the launch tomorrow, believe it or not. So, yeah, it's a big deal over there too now. You know, I was skeptical at first, Ramiro. I was very skeptical about how much excitement there'd be over there, but it's gotten big now. It's definitely gotten big. So, all
Right, and
right.
and they have more real estate on their side as far as driving onto the beach to view the launch
Oh yeah,
than
and
Boca
we do.
Chica does.
Yeah, and even we do on the island, right? So,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
And
one of the go ahead.
very quickly, and I did see how the Matamoros mayor has been meeting with SpaceX representatives. So I think it's a good thing for both sides of the border to get more coverage on this on these type of events.
So that I think I know what you're referring to. I think I saw some kind of post and I was like looking twice to make sure I was seeing what I was seeing. So they did meet with SpaceX officials. The Matamoros people did. Yeah. I can't hear you. You there?
Sorry, yes, I did see them with the SpaceX representative and the Matamoros mayor and his cabinet per se. We even had Brownsville business owner entrepreneur um, Trevino from Trevino's Drive Through
Yeah.
off of Price and Morningside. He was in the picture, and he's got relationships on both sides of businesses and relationships on both sides of the border. So that's very big. Matamoros is trying to tap into that. Would they start producing, I don't know, materials that could be beneficial for SpaceX? Yeah, probably not. But it doesn't hurt for the representatives to reach out to build that relationship to see if they can, tap into, that market.
Yeah. Well, a lot of
He,
people.
he may be inquiring supplies like you said, like the natural gas that they need, the methane, the oxygen, liquid
Oh
oxygen,
yeah.
liquid yeah. So
Yeah. Imagine that if they were to get that from those sources.
right, it's a lot
That,
closer, you
now,
know.
now that, now that now that you say that, I may go off topic very quickly, and y'all could redirect me. But do you think the county sought Elon Musk's advice in regards to LNG here?
I don't
Because
know.
I
again, this is a big deal for LNG to be, catty corner to SpaceX. Do you think they tapped into Elon and said, "Hey, will this interrupt your operations in any way? Do you give us a thumbs up?"
Well, I think there was
I,
some talk a while back that Elon was going to put his own LNG mini plant Remember, Ramiro, there was some talk about that or something like that.
Right. Well, I think he does have an influence in bringing LNG into the valley because there's a demand, such a big demand. Like right now, it's all being trucked in from Corpus and Houston. So it only makes sense to why not bring it in from Mexico when it's a couple miles down the road. It could be brought in through truck, through through railroad, and through the port.
Yeah.
Through ships. So
I mean,
but yeah,
there,
the big need, and then also with the LNG, the LNG need here in the valley is big, especially now that we're also, I think they're working on building a natural gas power plant, right?
yeah,
So it only makes sense to bring it in.
yeah. All right, guys. Well, what is going to happen tomorrow? So we've got the SpaceX flight plan for tomorrow, and we've got a nice graphic. Mr. Tony Bella from Infographic actually designed it. I'm not going to take credit for that, but
Oh, nice.
but basically it describes what's going to happen tomorrow. So it's about 11 steps, and the very first stage or step is liftoff. And then the second step is basically where Starship reaches max Q, which is maximum dynamic pressure. That is the pressure that is exerted on the rocket. If you are talking about a Falcon 9, when it reaches max Q, that is the huge amount of G forces that the astronauts in the Dragon capsule actually feel. So in this case, it's uncrewed, right? So we don't have to worry about any of that. But that is the max Q phase, and if it survives that, then that's a pretty good thing. And then the third thing that's going to happen, which is step 3, is going to be main engine cutoff. And basically, the 20 Raptor engines and the 10 RC engines, and I can't remember what the RC engines are, but they're going to shut down at that point, leaving 3 central Raptor engines throttling at 50%. So that happens in the third phase. And then in the fourth phase, which is 4A, it is stage separation. That is where the Starship uh, uh, upper stage separates from the booster. And then in stage 4B, there's a boost back burn where 10 Raptor engines will ignite. And then it is followed by a jettison of the hot stage ring at 4C. And then at 4D, the 13 Raptor engines will restart. And then in 4E, all RC engines restart except the 3 central Raptor engines. And it slows down to vertical descent, as you see in the chart. And then in 4F, the chopsticks catch the booster. And then if that's successful in 4G, the booster burn shuts down. So that describes the booster getting, well, first of all, the entire rocket getting launched, reaching max Q. It separates, and then the Starship continues going while the booster comes back down to uh, Boca Chica. Of course, if something goes wrong, and Ramiro, I don't remember what you mentioned could go wrong, but it would be then ditched in the Gulf, correct?
Right. If because on the landing attempt, the plan is to have the 3 center engines bring it down. So if one of those 3 of the inner engines malfunctions in any way, they may abort the catch attempt because those are the ones that have the ability to maneuver the ship. They what do they call that? Where they can gimbal left, left, right, up, down.
Right.
Uh, Now the outer ring, those Raptor engines do not have vector control. That's what they call it, electronic vector control. just the inner ring.
Right.
So the other major concern is that we really don't know about yet is from Flight 4 is what happened with that ball of fire that we seen with the booster performing the soft splash landing in the Gulf.
Right.
I think that there was maybe a few engines that maybe had a rud. So again, like I said, but Elon did say that though it had some, he didn't say what it was that caused the fire, but he said that it was so accurate. It was within a couple of centimeters from where it was planned to land. So it did hit its mark, bullseye.
Right. Right. So
So, and
then,
just a quick reminder for those listening on X Live, I am monitoring the comments. You are able to comment live if you have a question, post it there, and I will read it out loud here and respond.
and of course, what happens to Starship? Well, the fifth step is all Starship engines are at full throttle until Starship engine cutoff. And then Starship reaches orbit. And when it reaches orbit, the three main engines are cut off. And then once it flips around the Earth, it will then attempt a reentry into the atmosphere. If Starship survives reentry, it will decelerate to subsonic speeds. That's 22 times the speed of sound. And then, of course, once it does that, it's going to do the belly flop, and eventually it will splash down. And unfortunately, it will settle and sink into the ocean. They have no plans to recover
I don't know about that. I heard some rumors that if it does survive reentry, that there may be a good chance that they may recover Starship for analysis,
it.
for
Yeah,
post-flight analysis, just like they did in for the booster this Flight 4.
yeah. Honestly, I don't
So
know why they wouldn't recover any of the hardware because the Russians and the Chinese are just anxiously wanting to get their hands on the
right,
technology.
and what guarantee is there that they haven't already recovered a Raptor engine or some hardware?
Right. I
You
mean,
know, we
they
don't know. We didn't know that Elon was out there recovering parts until he posted a picture of it on X, and then it went viral.
right.
And it
Yep.
already had been what, a month post launch,
Right.
and so yeah, there's a lot of things that we may not know,
Right.
uh, but I think that he will attempt the recovery of the ship and the booster this time around.
Yeah. Well, it's not the first time that we've actually raced to actually recover something from the ocean, back in the 60s, and I wasn't even alive back then, but I read about it. Howard Hughes was the Elon Musk of the day back in those days. If you've ever seen the movie The Aviator, you kind of know everything that man did, right? He really was the Elon Musk of the 1960s and 70s. But anyway, apparently, a Russian nuclear ship actually sunk in the Pacific, and the U.S. actually hired Howard Hughes to actually go and recover the ship because he had experience. His company, Baker Hughes, which is one of his companies, were the ones that invented the oil drill bit to actually drill oil. Baker Hughes. His old man actually made millions of dollars, and he inherited all his wealth. And one of the things that Hughes's companies knew how to do was to actually drill in the ocean and go into depths, that most people couldn't. I mean, we know what happened with the Titanic submersible, a year or so ago, right? It's dangerous. And so they recovered the Russian nuclear ship. The U.S. recovered it, but it was all secret. And
No,
it wasn't, nobody found out about it until after Hughes died. He died like a hermit, in Houston back, many years ago. In 76, I think, he was a hypochondriac and And he was a germaphobe, and he died en route to Houston. And they said that when he died, when they opened his hotel room, the guy had all long hair, stinky, hadn't taken a bath in years, and his nails were longer than God knows what. And so, but he's a genius, just like Musk was, just like Musk is. He's a genius, in his day. So, but yeah, definitely, I believe that they should be recovering every piece of hardware, including those tiles. you know, Speaking of tiles, we, you know, Frankie, you got to get out there see if you can catch a tile. Those things are worth money. You know, you could buy your
I
your
think
your Cybertruck with one tile.
did y'all see they were selling them on eBay, weren't they?
Yeah,
The tiles, most of the tiles ended up after the fact that after the launch. I think how Ramiro said that SpaceX does send out, their employees to try and recoup as much as possible. But there were some stragglers left behind that, that they did actually find something.
yeah,
I personally, I wouldn't sell it. It would be more like like a Babe Ruth home run ball to me, because hey, man, every launch it seems it's the technology, the understanding of these teams, understanding what it takes to perfect. At first, from Brownsville to Mars kind of sound like a gimmick, like, yeah. But didn't Elon Musk say in the next, 20 years, 10 years, that he anticipates launches to Mars to be how you said, more like a commercial flight, which is
right,
kind of like mind boggling, because we're on the cusp of a new world out there.
right. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that is significant, if they're able to pull this off tomorrow, it's going to separate the men from the boys. SpaceX is going to be so far ahead of everybody else. Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos won't be able to catch up. You know, not only that, but look at the blue and black eye that will mean to Boeing. Boeing has struggled and struggled and struggled to get their Starliner capsule to work, and it's just been a disaster for them. I mean, it's just a runaway. Tomorrow, if they're successful, there's pretty much nothing stopping them short of a Kamala victory next month, you know.
And speaking of Boeing, I think I read a headline that said they were thinking about filing for bankruptcy. That's how bad it
Yeah,
is over there at Boeing.
yeah. Dude, to upgrade the software on most of those airplanes today, a simple software upgrade, okay? They still use 3.5-inch floppy disks. I mean, Ramiro, you worked at Circuit City. You remember those diskettes. For them to have to
Yeah,
take
that
a disk and stick it in the drive on an airplane to do an upgrade, that is just lunacy, you know?
yeah, it is. I mean, I tried to find a VHS tape player
Yeah,
because I have some really old VHS cassettes that I want to check out, and I can't find a VHS player.
right?
There's none. So
No.
imagine floppy disks. They're way much older than that.
Oh yeah. But when this 737 Max fiasco happened a few years ago, where the plane the AFS system was taking over and it caused two crashes. The computer was taking over, it wouldn't let the pilots take control of the airplane. For them to perform that software upgrade required them to load the software on a floppy disk. I mean, just totally incredible. Imagine the guy that had to do the upgrade on every single 737 out there for every single airline. What a joke. But
Yeah. And speaking of software, isn't it amazing how the flight hardware from Starship, all the stuff that SpaceX builds for their rockets, everything on Tesla is all made by Elon,
right,
not all in-house, nothing from Russia or China.
right, right. And of course, that's not the same when it comes to Boeing. Boeing uses their rocket engines come from Russia. So all right, guys. Well, that was it for tonight's pre-launch party. It is exactly, according to the launch countdown, 9 hours, 7 minutes, and 46 seconds before launch. So it's getting pretty exciting. Frankie, I think you're going to have the best view in the house. I'll be on once again at 6:30 in the morning. So if you all tune in, you should be catching the launch right here on this channel. And once again, for those of you traveling on the road or are at work and you want to see the launch, you can go to our mobile app and catch it there and watch it there as well. So we will be back tomorrow morning at 6:30. Ramiro, I know you're probably going to be working at that time, I think. So,
No, no, I'm going to be watching the
oh,
launch, and
okay.
I probably won't. I probably won't sleep tonight. Uh, I'll just wait for the launch to happen. So, for the people down there at Port Isabel, at Boca Chica, at South Padre Island, don't worry about the big boom that you're going to hear after the launch. Uh, that is just a sonic boom from the landing attempt, if it does happen. So the sky is not falling. Everything will be fine tomorrow.
That's right.
And we apologize ahead of time for the rude awakening on a Sunday morning.
Yep. Yep. All right, guys. Well, I thank you guys for being on tonight. I know it was kind of lengthy, but I think we had a lot to talk about, a lot to show. And once again, everybody, we'll be back on tomorrow, 6:30 in the morning. I'm gonna set 3 alarm clocks to make sure I wake up, and we'll see you guys
And
in the
you want to tell them the platforms you're going to be on, Danny? So you're going to be on
Yes.
X, Facebook,
Yes.
YouTube. Frank, what about you, Frankie? Are you doing a live stream?
Yeah, I'll be going on YouTube, but I'm doing it in Spanish.
Ah,
So everyone that wants to watch it in English, tune into Brazil Tech Live. I want to tap into a different market. So I'll be doing it in Spanish on Facebook. You can find me at Frankie Olivo on Facebook, and on YouTube also Frankie
yeah.
Olivo. So those are the two social media platforms that I'll be going on live tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So for
All
us,
right.
we're
No,
gonna be
no X.
I'm going to sign up to be a creator. Facebook is getting kind of sus for me. YouTube, I'm not at 1,000 subscribers to monetize. But X right now seems as if it's the next wave because YouTube is kind of
Yeah, the
Facebook is
censorship and
yeah yeah
the algorithms are all messed up.
the algorithms are not good. So, and I've been talking to friends who are venturing into X. For $22 a month, for 200 or some bucks a year, they said that, hey man, you get a good return for your buck. So I'm going to eventually be streaming on X very soon.
yeah.
Right. And it's a lot less for your subscription if you do it on your computer instead of
Right,
a
right.
mobile device.
Yeah. Well, for those of you watching BTL, we're gonna be on Facebook, YouTube, and we're going to be on X and on Rumble. We're actually on Rumble as you'll be able to catch recorded sessions on the rest of the platforms that we're on. So you'll be able to catch those on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. I forget how many we're on at this point, but pretty much
Yeah.
all of them. So anyway, so you guys can catch. If you miss it tomorrow for some reason, you can catch it on one of those 12, So all right, guys, we will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys, and you guys have a good night.
Yep. Good luck, Starship. Good
Yep.
luck, SpaceX.
Go Starship, and let's not forget, go Cowboys. We've got the
That's
Lions
right.
to beat. We've got those Lions to beat, and then we get to rest for a week, and then we have to deal with those pesky 49ers. So, all right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Later.
Just give me a second while I turn everything off here. sometimes I'll won't turn it off and it'll keep on going and I'll say something I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, I think for X there's a